And we're live. Welcome to the Power Trip Podcast live. You're now tuned into our Thursday evening chat with your hosts,
Charmaine
and Saquon.
Hey everyone.
How you doing,
For
people?
those of you guys who are new to the channel and who don't know, every Thursday we get together with you all and we discuss controversial topics surrounding family, relationships, and community. We have three main goals on our podcast, and the first one is to strengthen communication skills within our community. Our second goal is to expand our perspective so that we can gain a greater perspective and understanding. And then last, but certainly most important, we want to build exceptional families that will continue to uplift the world around us. So we are so happy you guys have all joined us, and we can't wait to get into the wonderful topics that we have for you today.
Yes. So first off, how's everybody doing tonight?
Yes. How's everyone?
As everyone's
going?
rolling in.
Yes. Hey, Mom.
Hey, my G.
Yes. Make sure you guys like the video. How's everybody's night going? Hey, Boobies.
What's up, Janelle?
All right, we have some really good topics. I'm excited for our topics tonight. Hey, Gabe.
Hola, Gabe.
You guys seen that the stimmy checks are on the way?
Stimmies.
The stimmies are coming. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, as people start trickling on in, do you want to get started, hon?
Yeah. Let's jump
Oh,
on
actually,
into
hold
it.
on 1 second. Let me just share this on Facebook. And everybody who joined, please make sure, hey, Pops, please make sure to
What's up, Poppy?
share the video, like the video. All right. So let me just share this really quick myself. All right. Share now. Perfect. All right. So you ready to jump in, hon?
Let's jump into it.
Okay. So our first topic of the night. Oh, glad you guys are doing good, Mom.
Yes, we are glad.
Okay, so our first topic of the night is name change.
Name change after marriage.
After marriage, yes. And this has become a controversial topic.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't always been, I feel like, a controversial topic just because traditionally women typically just took the husband's last name.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like expected in our culture that once you get married, you would just take your husband's last name.
Yeah, it's just a thing.
But, more so in the modern world, now there's women who will keep their last name, hyphenate their last name. There's even men who will take the woman's last name. Or I've seen it where a man and the woman have both of their last names. So the man takes her last name hyphenated with his last name.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting. So, hun, I'll start with you, and you guys can write in the comments too. For one, for the men in the chat, do you feel like your wife should take your last name, or did you? And Gabe, because I know you're married, would you have an issue if your wife didn't take your last name? Let us know your thoughts on getting married and changing your last name, and then, hun, I want to hear your opinion on it.
So, man, for me, it's not for me.
What's not for you?
I don't think I could see myself getting married to where my wife wouldn't want to have my last name.
Why not?
Because I think for me it's because of the way I look at a family unit.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the family unit like it should be tight. Everything moving forward should just be, if the right word would be cohesive. Like everything should be together. It's easier that way, and representation.
Okay.
So I personally like those things.
Okay. So, because I understand. Go ahead.
Oh, and if you hyphenate something on top of my name, you're not looking to have your name fit on anything in life because that's too long.
Your last name. So I can understand like the representation, right? Because it's like we're the St. Hilaire's, you know?
Yeah.
We're not the, oh, hey, Mr. St. Hilaire. Hey, Mrs. James. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. St. Hilaire.
Yeah.
So I get that representation, that cohesiveness there. However, as a family unit, does it change anything, the way we interact, the way we move, if we had different last names?
Does it change the way we
we're still moving? We could still move as a unit without having the same last name.
No, we can move as a unit. The military do it. Everybody's a different person, but they're able to move as a unit. Yeah, you can move as a unit without that. I look at it more so like it's the uniform for us. If that's what it is.
So it's like we're all in the army. So it's like even though we're more than one person, we're under this label.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say, okay, for me, I was happy to take your last name because I had no attachment to my maiden last name. Now, I do know people who have close relationships with their biological fathers, or whoever they have, like last name they have. Like for them, they feel like it's hard. Hey, Dame.
What's up, Damien?
They feel like it's hard to give up that last name because they're so attached to that.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like in the traditional sense, it's kind of like your last name. When it's kind of like, okay, in the traditional sense, whoever you're married to is now your family. Like you never lose your other family, but now you're in this family.
True.
And that's who's taking care of you. That's who should be providing and everything like that. So I've heard like some men say, well, if you want to keep your dad's last name, marry him, because they look at it like, well, I'm now, your dad is, like, if you think about it too, when you get married, the dad walks the daughter down the aisle, and the dad, traditionally, the dad hands, hey, Mama J.
What's up, Mom?
The dad will give the daughter to the husband. And when the officiant asks who gives this, daughter away, usually traditionally it's the dad who says, I give her away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the dad is entrusting now this man, it's your time to take over. So then, at that point, it's like the woman's going into your care, and you are to be the provider and the protector.
Right.
So one thing also for me is I always feel like, well, I told Saquon this before too, and this is the reason that we, also waited to have children until married. Is because, hi, Aunt Yvonne.
Hey.
Is because I don't want my child to have a different last name than me. Like you guys are the St. Hilaire's, and I'm just the James. Like it's just weird.
Yeah, it is weird. That's weird, but that is kind of like what this clip was talking about.
Oh, can we read what Dame said before we do the
Got you.
Thank you, honey. All right.
He said, I've heard even if a woman doesn't take his last name, he hasn't earned it.
Oh, if she doesn't take the husband's last name, I've heard even if a woman doesn't take his last name, he hasn't earned it. So then why would she get married?
That's a good question. Honestly, while digging into that topic, I heard that. And that was a question that was followed up though, is why would you marry the person then?
Because then you're getting married for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
If you go ahead, honey.
Oh, go ahead. Say what you were saying.
No, I was just gonna say, if you feel like your significant other hasn't earned you taking their last name, then have they earned your hand in marriage?
Right. And then it's because I look at it like this. So if you don't think they earned it, you're gonna have a lifelong attachment with them, and it's possible that they never earn it.
Exactly. That means you're not all the way in there.
No.
Also, if that's your reasoning, because we're going to talk about some other reasonings that I can kind of understand why some women wouldn't want to take the last name, or may have the last name like professionally their maiden name and not. But let's play this clip really quick. I know you want to play this.
Well,
and for all of you guys joining us, welcome to the Power Trip Podcast, our Thursday evening chat. Tonight we are discussing a few different topics. Right now we're discussing name change after you get married. So while we play these clips, jot down in the comment section, would you take your spouse's last name if you got married? And if you're a man, would you want your spouse to take your last name? And also, men, right? Would you take your wife's last name if that's what she requested?
Right.
Okay, so we're going to play a clip.
And the thing is, by your woman not taking your last name, it's sort of low-key disrespect, because it's sort of saying like, okay, I'm not fully ready to submit to this situation. You understand? She's not ready to fully be on your team. And then how is that going to translate when you and her are supposed to be a team working together to make a family work? Right? And you say, hey, look, we got to do this, this, and this. And she's going to be like, well, I don't know. Maybe we should do it this way. Maybe we should do it that way. I wanted to, you understand, you're getting all of this friction because of, you're already beginning a relationship with you allowing and being okay with her not taking the last name.
That was clip number 1. We're going to play clip number 2.
I think it depends on the couple. For me, I would like to change my name in my private life, but my entertainment name, I guess that's what they call it.
You worked hard for that
I
name.
worked hard for Tamara Mori, and my husband respects that. It's not even a big deal to Adam, because I asked. But because, it's Aiden Housley, Adam Housley, I feel a little kind of like left out. I love the last name Housley. I wouldn't mind, having. I like Tamara Housley. I like the way that sounds. I don't mind changing that for my private life. Yeah. But for my entertainment name, I've got to have Tamara Mori Housley.
I heard that, girl. You know what? And that's good, because that's a good sounding name. But see, if I were ever to get married, I would have hyphenate, but it has to be the right type of name, because I couldn't take Lonnie Love Handles or, that just wouldn't sound right.
What if it's not about your work, but it's about a personal feeling? Like, I was born Jeannie Mai. That's like my dad's name when he came here from Vietnam. And so I couldn't pick up my husband's name because he's my husband.
What's his last name?
Harties. So I'd be Jeannie Harties.
That sounds rich. I would take that name. Jeannie Harties.
But for me, that doesn't sound like
Chinese
Vietnamese name. Yes, I stood up for myself, for my name. Every time I was bullied when I was younger, I said, I'm Jeannie Mai. I got to stand for it. It just doesn't feel like me once I become another name. It just, for me,
I think because
really
you don't
personal.
have kids yet, Jeannie.
Really, you think?
Yeah, because it's a little awkward, like, especially when your kid goes to school and stuff.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
different
my
last
kids are not,
names.
and my kids.
So
don't
true.
speak that in your life, girl. Hold on. Take that back. Wait.
Yes.
My son, okay.
Period.
Right. But, when I got pregnant with Logan, I decided to hyphenate my name, Tamar Braxton Herbert, because I didn't want to be the odd man out. You know what I mean? I didn't want nobody to think outside the fact that I'm, the stepmama who came in the scene with a gangster name.
Okay. Hi, I'm Chi-Chi, and thank you.
Hello.
And I did hear that, and also like the Brazilian, like what are they, Brazilian culture, and the Spanish culture, that the wife has both names. There's this lady on this I guess interview I was watching, and she was like, she has her mom's last name, her dad's last name, and her husband's last name. And so she was like, a lot of in the Spanish culture, they have long last names because they just keep everybody's last name.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And Anivon said sometimes it's for business reasons. And I can understand that to an extent as well. So there's some women who are established before they get married. And so like me, like people knew me as Dr. Actually, I just went by Dr. Charmaine, but some people also call me Dr. James.
Right.
And so for some people who are very successful in their career and everyone knows them by that name, they don't want to change their name because they don't want the confusion, have to change everything. That I don't necessarily agree with that as being like the reason just because they know you as that, because I feel like Okay, like people will get used to you with your new last name.
I think that's a way of being able to have that last piece of attachment to that name. Like,
I mean,
where
I
you could
get
still
it.
feel
You
like your
build
old
a
self.
and like celebrities, like they build a brand. I get it,
Mhm.
but it's like people get used to new last names all the time.
Yeah.
So it takes a while. Just like I was listening to something, they were like with Jada, everybody knew her as Jada Pickett, and then now we all know her as Jada Pickett Smith.
Right.
So eventually it becomes normal. You kind of get used to it. Now, caveat to that. For women who want to keep their business and their personal life separate, there's some therapists or lawyers and people in those fields who will still work in their maiden last name, but in their personal life, their name is really changed, and they do go by their husband's last name.
Yeah, and from the sounds of that, that would be more of protection reasons.
Right. You don't want people kind of following you, tracking you in your business.
Yeah.
And that I can understand for sure. Let's see. Dame says, I feel like I have to make this name so great
that she would have it no other way.
No other way.
That's true.
And I honestly, I feel like, okay, so, hey, Mom.
What's up, Mom?
What's up, fam? I actually respect Tamara's reasoning for keeping her name separate. To Tamara's point, I don't mind keeping your performance name like Shakira or Monica, but outside of that, take this last name, Holly Dixon.
All right. So I really like the whole entertainment industry stuff, all of that, right? But I don't agree with her.
Oh my God.
I look at it as if like this. Not one time did I look at the screen, watching a show or a movie or, well, actually they did use their real name.
In the show.
They did.
They did.
But if she got hired for a movie or anything like that, I'm looking at her as the character in the movie. I know who she is already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of who she is.
Right.
If you put two of them together, right? Don't say nothing. And I'm like, oh, I know who that is. You don't have to put a label on it.
They're not getting hired. Like, yes, the person has the name.
Yeah.
Right? But their name changing doesn't affect them getting hired or doesn't affect how you know them.
Right.
So I think it's just that it's just the notion. I think it's more so an attachment to that.
Exactly. Didn't Prince change his name or something?
To a symbol?
Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. But he did that.
It was a statement. It was a statement why he did it.
Well, I also thought that he did it because of his master or something like that. They were trying to let him use his name, so he could change his name to a symbol.
But what I'm saying though is everybody still know him as Prince.
Yeah.
So,
Dave is
you laughing a little too hard, sis. I'm hurt.
I'll leave you in my inbox. Sure, Dave. Sure. But yeah, so I really do think it's like a personal preference on the last name change. I don't think this is like necessarily a right or wrong. However, it kind of really just depends on what you want to do. Like, okay, you go to the family reunion and they're just like, your shirt has to be kind of different. Well, I'm sure. Okay, no, I guess.
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
You just get the shirt that you get the shirt that
it would still be your husband's shirt, or
the one that if that's his family reunion, you're just gonna get a shirt with his last name.
How do you guys? Okay, and like I said, it's just opinion based. For me, I prefer to have the same last name because I do like the thought of like we're becoming one, right? Mm-hmm. And we're moving together with this last name. It's like a representation thing. It is kind of like, I guess, aesthetics. Like we are the St. Hilaire's. Like there's no confusion. Like if I say, hi, I'm Charmaine St. Hilaire, and he says, hey, I'm Taquan St. Hilaire, we're married. Like we just know this is together. Our children will be St. Hilaire. So you just know it. But what do you refer to? Like when the woman has not change her last name at all, how do you refer to her and him? Like, do you still say Mr. and Mrs. his last name? Or is it, hey, Mr. St. Hilaire, hi, Mrs. Moses? You know, like, what would you say?
I guess that's all
Do
you
guys
can
know?
say. I mean,
I feel like people just still say the man's last name. Just because
they
it's
do,
traditional
no.
in our culture, I feel like it happens.
I think you got to look at it like this, though. If you don't know, and it depends on who you know. That's what it is. It depends on who you know. Because let's say I'm a student, right? And this man's wife, I know her as Miss Collins, right? That's what I know her as. Now I see her husband walking one day.
You're gonna say,
right?
hey, Mr. Collins.
Automatically.
Yeah.
Automatically, I'm gonna say, hey, Mr. Collins, because I know she's married.
Yeah.
And I'm probably calling her Mrs. Collins already.
Right.
And when he walks in, I'm automatically gonna say Mr. Collins.
Yeah. And I think that's just because of our tradition and our culture.
Yeah.
It's just typically the woman will take the man's last name.
And then for respect, it's like I don't know anything else to call him by.
Yeah.
So I can't call him by his first name. So if you don't necessarily tell me that y'all don't have the same last name, then how am I supposed to know?
It's an innocent mistake.
Yeah.
So would you guys, men in the group and women, because a lot of you guys are married, men, would you take your wife's last name if she asked you to?
That's a good question. And
ladies, would you prefer your man to take your last name? Let us know. And mind, you're married too, Jamila girl. If you're here, let me know, because I know you changed your last name.
And what was the second question?
So women, would you want your man to take your last name?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is interesting when you think about it. Like, why couldn't you take the woman's last name if it's about unification, cohesiveness, us being one unit? And then I also want to talk about the children, because typically also the children traditionally get the husband's last name, or even if you're not married, they typically get the father's last name unless there's a little friction.
Yeah. So I'd say for me personally,
he said,
right? Yeah, that's not happening.
Why would you say no?
So for me, I'm gonna say maybe just because of the social norm and traditions, I'm gonna have to be like, nah, it's just not happening that way.
Yeah, I think we're more traditional,
right,
and more modern.
But when I'll be honest though, when I think about it, like, let's take that away and let's just say technically, right? Well, technically, I mean, if it's a union and no social norms, none of this, and we just trying to be identified, then, it would be, we would get married and all of a sudden my name would be Saquon St. Hilaire James, and then your name would be Charmaine James St. Hilaire. And then our kids going to have one or the other. Maybe if they a boy, it's just going to be such and such St. Hilaire James, and if it's a girl, then it might be James St. Hilaire. Like, I don't know. Like,
too much.
What's up, Ciasia?
Hey, Ciasia. Let's see.
Oh, you about to say not. Damien said, true story. I'm my father's only child that doesn't share his last name, and I struggled with that growing up. That plays a part, and that get into like blended families. If I'm correct, it does
get into blended families. Oh, and that makes me think, because there are some women who give their child their last name, right? And if you think about it, because generations before, typically the woman took the man's last name. But if you think about it, it's like you're giving your child their grandfather's last name versus their father's last name. And it's like they have a father. So why are they getting their grandfather's last name? That's interesting. Let's see. Aunt Chichi says, I really like what my good friend did when she got married. They both changed their last names to a hyphenated name that included both their names. So the kids get both names.
Kind of what I was saying.
Yeah. And I've seen a couple do that as well. So I just feel like it really is about the unification of the name. Like, we're one unit. So whatever we decide to do, it should be the same.
Right. I wasn't in a situation like that. Who goes first? Do they say, no, this sounds right? This sounds better.
Typically, I feel like the woman's name still goes first and the man's name last.
So even when
I've seen it happen,
and when he take it to,
it's usually her name first and his name last. Okay. But I don't know. Chichi, is that the experience with your friend as well? If you know. And then let's see. Gabe says, for me, my last name is pretty rare, so I would not want to give it up because it may get lost. Right. That's like his last name.
Nah, that's how I feel. So
I'm the only Dr. Saint Hilaire, the way our last name is spelled.
Right. So, and it's crazy because we talked about it. So I was in the blended family and I kind of battled with the whole not having a name as everybody else. Mm-hmm. It comes along with the feeling, but I had the chance to give up my name for the other, and I couldn't let go of my name. For me, I had an attachment to my name, like I don't know. I guess it stood something for me. The uniqueness behind it. I don't know. I feel like I'm a unique person. I'm kind of like a standalone person, and my name fit that as well, right along with me. In my opinion.
Yeah. And I think so it makes sense. Like you want to hold on to your name. That's your father's last name. You want to hold on to it. But then when you're in the collective and they're saying the Jacksons and you're a single there, it makes it a little tougher.
Yeah. And
the only one without it.
And then only sometimes. Cause that's why I kind of also look at it like, if the wife don't have his last name and you just getting called his name, then it probably don't even matter because most of the time it didn't.
Yeah.
I understand what they referencing. Mm-hmm. So
really it just comes down to preference, like we said earlier. Oh, you want to read what CA just said, honey?
CA just said, my daughter has her father's last name. However, my parents initially wanted her to have my last name. Why is that? What's the reason?
Well, I'm not going to speak for Ciaja, but I know especially young girls who have children, sometimes the parents want, like the grandparents want the daughter to make sure the child has their last name. So if it ever comes into like legal battles and things like that with the dad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Angie said, yes, her name went first. Okay. Yeah, I think that's how I've seen it go too. Usually the woman's name goes first.
I guess that would be personal though, if that was the situation though. Right.
Yeah, it would depend, like case by case basis. Yeah, who you're messing with. And that's usually young girls having children.
Because at that point, we aren't married. Okay.
Yeah, that's really interesting to think about too, though. It's like when you have a child, whose last name do they get and why? Because you both contributed to that child. So maybe they get both. Can you just hyphenate a child's last name?
This is why you get married before you do it. And I'm saying here thinking
pro to getting married.
Yeah, that's a pro to it. That's a pro to it. Because I'm thinking about it now. It's like, I guess, and I don't know.
But what's your view? Doesn't take the man's last name when they get married. Yeah.
That's true. Okay, Ciaja, would you take his last name if y'all got married? That would be the thing. I guess this is our only example.
Well, no, I wonder though, like, can you just hyphenate a child's last name?
I think you can. How they going to tell you what to name your child?
The last name?
Yeah.
She said she would take his last name.
Yeah. I was the first grandson for both sides of my family. However, my mother had complication and wasn't supposed to conceive after my sister first and me second.
So then whose last name did you have, Dame?
Yeah. Okay. And so with Ciaja saying that, yes, she would, right? I will also look at it like this. If Ciaja values marriage like that, right? And I can't get into your business.
Values marriage
like that. If she want to get married to that extent, then he should take care of that. If he look at it like a lifetime commitment, even if it's down to the child, like, oh well, we had a child, it's a lifetime commitment.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Why the baby wouldn't have the last name? her parents don't want him to have
he should take care of what?
He should marry Ciasia.
Just because they had a child.
If he look at the child, if he look at it like, oh, well, you know, we still making this lifetime commitment, da 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 da, and she values marriage like that, then I think so, yeah.
Ew, that one's a good conversation. Do you just get married because you have a child together?
No, and I guess I'm not saying just because you have a child. I mean, I guess I am kind of saying that, but I'm also saying like some people don't look at a child as a lifetime commitment between them and that person. But there are men that's immature that look at it like, oh, well, I'm with her, I'm doing this, that, and the third, I got a child, da 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 da. It is what it is. You understand what I'm saying? But if
you're saying that they're still together, like if a couple is still together,
right,
just not married, and they have a child.
Yeah, and then the parents is saying, you know, well, I don't think that the baby should have his last name. You get what I'm saying? He should marry her, so the whole family can have the same last name.
Yeah, but it's not him saying he doesn't want.
No, it's the parents saying it.
Yeah,
and I'm saying he should marry her.
Huh, that's interesting. I do think there's something in the thought of a lot of people will have a child with somebody but can't see themselves marrying that person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's equivalent.
It's just a little backwards. Me. It's not. Well, no, it's not.
No, it's not equivalent. It's not equivalent. But if y'all looking at it like, hey, we grown and we trying to have the best communication and have a family and all of this, it is equivalent. It's all the same. So just put it all together.
Yeah, that one's a tricky one.
Don't let that stand in the way if this is our goal.
Don't let what stand in the way?
Me not having the same last name as my child and all of us doing this together just because we're not married. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I'm confused.
Okay.
So you're saying couple's still together.
The couple's together, right?
They have a child at a wedlock.
Right. And now my parents...
The parent said, because you're not married, the child should have your last name, the woman.
Yes.
But you're saying the guy should just say, okay, well, I got her pregnant, and my goal, if his goal is to stay here forever, then I might as well get married.
Right.
So that we could all be a unit.
Right.
Okay, I get that, the concept, if that's her situation. Okay, so Dame said, go ahead.
Damien says, so because of this, my grandmother told her who will carry the Dixon name, and my dad obliged, and I got Dixon.
Okay. Okay, so you can hyphenate a child's last name, and Chichi says you can pay the court and name your child whatever you like.
Yeah. That's interesting, though. So it's more so because of it being more of a miracle that name came with it?
Excuse me?
As far as Damien's situation?
Yeah. I guess because it was, they didn't think that there was going to be a boy, then it's to pass on that lineage on the maternal side.
Interesting. He said, my maternal side, then my mom had 2 other boys. Laugh out loud. I felt like an outsider, and I didn't know my paternal family rich history until later in life because I felt like I didn't belong.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Tough. Yeah. All right. And then Ciasia.
Generally speaking, mothers will want the child to take their last name versus the father due to custody, etc. As Charmaine mentioned. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So that's interesting, though.
The last name hold that much weight, though? Like as far as a custody battle to where all the rubric should still be the same? You think maybe mentally. I
think, yeah. I don't know if it, because a DNA test will show the man's the father. But I just think, like, if they don't have the father's last name, it's harder for the father to just try to claim the child outside of the courts. Like, you know, like, because you go to daycare and if you're picking up a child and you're like, yeah, this is my son. So-and-so, like, oh, daddy. You got the same last name. You know, they could just run, hey, cousin Alethea.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. So, yeah. So that was the topic of last name. Would you change it? Would you not? Seems like most of us would change our last name.
Yeah,
most of us have changed our last name who are married. So now let's get into the topic of arranged marriages.
Okay.
Write in the comments, yay or nay, for them, against them. What have you heard?
Right.
Do you know anyone who's had an arranged marriage? I don't personally. Arranged marriages to
I do.
me, you do?
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell the story. You don't have to say their names.
I don't know like the details of it like that. But she was a friend, and
I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
She was a friend, and she told me that was it. Like, she had a guy that she knew that was going to be that.
The whole time you knew her?
The whole time, yeah.
Because she was dating.
I think she was.
But her parents probably didn't know.
Yeah. I think because this is what I believe with that arranged marriage stuff, especially depending on when they actually get married, there's some immaturity in there that they might have to smooth through.
Both the parties, like
both parties, yeah. But she knew, but what she did know, and we had because it was just groups of us having these conversations, is she would never have sex though, because she knew that having sex, especially in her culture, would completely cancel out everything for the rest of her life with the one that she's supposed to be with, and for anybody ever. Like, she was like, that would mess everything up.
Yeah, culturally, it's big for some people.
Right. What's up, G?
Hey, G. Okay, so cousin Alethea said she needed her last name when she got married, so she's hyphenated. And then, Dame says he knows of 2 arranged marriages. Are they happy from your perspective? And then, picture is blurry. Oh, no. Oh, it's saying something about the Wi-Fi.
Right.
It's been doing that lately. All right, hopefully it comes back good, Mom.
No, the Wi-Fi haven't been kicked,
No, but it does that.
That's on. No, I'm saying the Wi-Fi, like our actual Wi-Fi.
Okay. Let's see.
My mom says, I don't agree, but I know someone did because of his culture. He didn't seem happy about it, but was going to stay with his culture. Okay.
Okay. And then Chichi says, I don't know anyone who has an arranged marriage, but I'm not opposed to the idea. The divorce rate hovers around 50%, and most people pick their own partners. Couldn't be any worse arranged. That's true. And actually, I think for arranged marriages, the divorce rate is like 7%.
Yeah.
And I was talking with a friend about this, actually. I wanted to take that off the screen. I was talking with a friend about this a few weeks ago when we were on that walk.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, she would actually consider it because usually it's like families that know each other very well. And the children typically grow up knowing each other, interacting with each other. You, as the parent, know like the family of what that child is coming from. And not to say that guarantees that the child's going to be great. You need to connect the cord when streaming. No Wi-Fi. Oh, gotta plug the Ethernet. Well, my thing is not that long.
It's not.
We have a cord, but we'll work on that. We'll work on that, guys.
Thanks for letting us know, though.
Thank you, Gabe. So yeah. So anyway. So she was saying she could think about it because she knows the family. Like, you would know better the family that person's coming from.
Yeah.
And I know, definitely today, a lot of people who are getting married, the families aren't as involved. Like,
that's true.
With the meeting process, the dating process, they kind of just get to know you after we've already established a relationship. So I can see the benefit in an arranged marriage where it's like the families know each other. Like, they know, that child should know, you mess with my daughter or you mess with my son, like we know each other.
Yeah.
You know? And so I can see it being beneficial, but I don't think it should be forced.
No. So, okay. Yeah. I don't think it should be forced. It shouldn't be forced at all. I think it should be set in a way to where. Did anybody see Bridgerton? Is it called Bridgerton?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody see Bridgerton? Like, okay. In a way, you had this community of people where she was able to go dance and meet all of these people. I don't want it to be as quick as Bridgerton. It shouldn't be that fast where it's like, oh, now you're on the market. let everybody come. No, I don't think it should be like that. But I believe that you should be able to control the atmosphere of what your children is around to a certain extent. Like, if you want your children to be around certain type of children, right? And children from respected families,
Right.
and that people that hold themselves to a certain extent, certain standard, those people should be your friends, so that when you have get-togethers or family events, these are the kids that's coming around. So your child kind of knows them. Now, they don't have to pick any of them, but they may, you know what I'm saying, because they have these values that you kind of have.
And I think that's a little different in Bridgerton. I don't think it was arranged. It's more so like it has to be approved by the family. Because arranged would be more, well, and
it was kind of arranged.
Some could be, yeah.
Yeah.
But it seemed like the man had to ask the woman. Like they were they were courting each other. And the man, one of the guys, like they were trying to get a guy to ask them.
Right,
but it wasn't like they already knew. But maybe in some cases they would have that, but at least it had to be approved by the families.
Right, because it did come to a point where it was like they were saying that the dad had somebody in mind and everything like that. So,
right.
To do that. So I don't know. I do think though it is kind of spoken of if we have another family near us and we kind of see things going on, we had the family barbecue every month, and we, people not blind. You have the conversation.
Yeah. But I think it also is tough too, because you don't know when your child's going to feel ready to be married. And,
we're not pushing it on them at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I'm not fully against arranged marriages either. Well, I'm not against them at all, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm for them, but I'm not against them.
Right. Damien said one was from a coworker from India, and she was very secretive. The other one was from a prominent Black Creole family, and they married another family with ties to a known liquor dynasty.
That's a huge thing too, especially in a lot of Eastern cultures, is they marry based on like status,
right?
Like to keep wealth in the family or to add wealth to the family. And it's really a big deal because it's like they're really big on like lineages and building up the family name and the family generational success. So some of them don't care about the happiness, but some do.
Yeah.
All right.
And which is interesting. Some people think you learn to love somebody.
Mommy says,
go ahead.
Sis and I are glad we secretly prayed for you two to meet and be married. You both come from successful nurses and loving families. Meaning not only you two, but for you two, meaning also to be together. Meaning not only you two, but for you two, meaning also to be together.
I'm not sure. Mom said, nope, I wouldn't take a woman's last name. Remember, the man is head of the household.
Okay. So and that's like a traditional view too. As the the head of the household, you would not be the person taking the other person's last name.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, and I agree. Mama J say yes. The spelling of the two words. Oh. Not just two, but two. Kind of get I'm a little confused. Meaning not only you two.
Sis and I are glad we secretly played for you too.
Oh, gotcha. Catch them what you're throwing. All right, so let's play a clip on
I think we have a couple for arranged marriage. Let's play. We're gonna play this first one.
Arranged marriages should be brought back to the U.S., and here's why. We have one of the highest divorce rates in the United States. We're at about 53% currently. For nations that practice arranged marriages, their divorce rate is like 7%. Okay, and this is why. Because arranged marriages don't have to be forced marriages. You just have a council of people, usually your parents and people who know better, that are helping you find the correct mate. People are getting married for stupid reasons in the United States, like for pecs and for chicks with big booties. Like, you know, women I don't know. You know, they get married for nice bodies. They get married for things that will not sustain a marriage. So if we went back to, and then also these boys are out here hoeing for way too long. So they need to be brought in and get married, okay? So things need to get arranged, right? And we can have some real family units. That is my case.
Ooh, can I go first?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was dumb.
We have one more.
What was causing my dissatisfaction was the expectation that it somehow should have been otherwise. As I started to get more comfortable with my relationship, I started to notice all around me the ways that even Western culture was mimicking a matchmaking culture in many ways. There were television shows like The Bachelor and Love is Blind. And then we had this whole shift towards online dating. And online dating was nothing more than a community's auntie culling together information and bringing people together. And so the real question to me then became is why aren't there other stories of what love looks like? There's a universality there that we're all participating in. It's hard to meet a partner. It's hard to meet someone. And all that is happening in so-called arranged marriages is that families and communities are working together to bring people together.
Interesting. I know I heard something also saying like when with an arranged marriage, a benefit to it is like when you're dating that person, you know the intent is marriage. You're not like second guessing like, oh, do they want to get married, figuring things out. Like, you know, they want marriage. And you know that if it's arranged that they're going to typically stay and fight for the marriage because of the cultural beliefs. Yeah,
I guess once you get to that point though, because that video specifically with the woman, she was speaking in it about how when it first kind of started up, she didn't like, she knew that it was kind of supposed to be like an arranged thing, but nobody ever like said it because it wasn't being pushed. It's not forced or nothing.
Right.
She said, so nobody never said it. And he definitely ain't get no type of
inkling.
No, he didn't.
Okay. Yeah. And usually it's women who are more prepped and raised with the thought of you're going to get married. Yeah. But it was funny because he didn't have any inkling that that's what was going on, right? And they found a way to send them off to prom together. He didn't ask for a dance the whole night. After prom, she said he ended up calling her the day after and apologizing, and he never called her house phone or nothing like that, and apologizing and saying everything, and then say he liked her, he wanted to do blah, blah, blah. I think what happened is he got home, his parents asked him how was the night. They said, did you dance? What happened? You know, he said no, and then broke the news to him. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Well, no, didn't she also say that she told him this was your chance? This is your chance to, you know, like make a move and take this step. I think she said she wanted to say that. I don't know if she said it to him or not. But yeah, either way. Yeah. So arranged marriages, maybe there probably are some pros to it. Yeah, there's pros to it. Cons would just be if it is like a forced situation, I feel like, and you have no say so in the matter and you're unhappy because really for some cultures, it may just be because of the family lineage. Like they said, if you're marrying into a wealthy family, or back in the day, they used to marry to bring peace in between nations. So it just would depend on the why and how it's formulated. Right. I would also say a con would be like, you don't really like, this is not a person that you had an attraction to. So sometimes you could. Maybe not all the time if it's arranged. Maybe you don't always. But then you hear a lot of times people will say they learn to love somebody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what? I mean, you're right. They say that, but they say they learn to love the things that going on in a relationship and all the little things. So I can't, I can't.
But it is tough because you should feel like it's a natural desire.
Right.
Like, I don't want you to have to learn to love me.
Yeah,
like,
it's like you learn me. You love me for the things that I do.
Well, I don't even think it's like necessarily the things that you do. Like, being with somebody for a long period of time, you can grow feelings and things like that. But I would hope that's before we get married, that you have that feeling that makes you want to marry me.
Yeah.
Versus we're told that we're going to be married and then we build that. And not saying that can't be great, especially that's wonderful if you can build that once you're married. But I think I would prefer that desire that you have for me prior to marriage,
right?
Than someone else just telling you have to marry me, and then it's just like, oh, okay, alrighty. But yes,
guess I'm getting married.
Yeah, so that was arranged marriages. You want to go to the third topic?
Yeah, let's close it up.
Yes. So last but not least, go ahead.
The third topic is a topic that was requested.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I almost forgot.
This topic is: should a housewife get a salary? Now, obviously we talked about it a few times, whether or not we think that if the woman should be a housewife or not.
Gender roles.
Yeah, we talked about gender roles. That's kind of weight of a lot of the things we talk about. But that's what we're going to get into.
So, for you guys, do you feel like if a woman is a homemaker, housewife, do you feel like she should get a salary from her husband, or should it be a salary from? Yeah, I'll say from the husband. I'll just keep it at the husband.
Yeah.
Dave says, "Oh." Write in the comments below. Are we gonna play the clip first? Or you want to talk first?
Let's play a clip.
Okay, so write in the comments below. Do you think a housewife, homemaker, should get a salary from her hubby? And we're gonna play this clip.
I'm lucky as well. Like if I wanted to stay at home, I could do that. But I couldn't put a price on bringing up my kids and looking after my husband, and the little things. And it's just it's teamwork at the end of the day. And even recently I've started working again, and my husband has been an absolute amazing
to work again and have someone look after your child.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Amanda says my partner pays me £200 a week to stay at home. It's definitely easier to go to work, she says. But that's would that not be the way of doing it? That the partner who goes out, even it could be the dad that stays at home, but the partner that goes out and earns the money then gives some extra money.
I wouldn't even say give. I think I don't know, this whole kind of feeling like an employee of your household. I think it's like if your partner's working, that's your money. It's both of your money. You're not going to start crazy
I think you should
spending.
totally get paid. You're the CEO of the house. You're looking after house bills, cooking, cleaning, and I think you should get appreciated a bit with. I mean, we're saving so much cost by being home, sitting, and having that 24/7 on the go job. And I feel like a mother would do it better than anyone else would, So I think that's something I strongly really believe.
I don't know, because even with my husband, and at first, when I first started working again, a few months ago, I was on edge because I was like, can he handle it? Blah, 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 blah. And he can. So it's just a thing about teamwork. And
he's traveling. He's always away.
Yeah, I think it's just taken away. In this day and age, everything's about money, and I just think
a bit of appreciation is always nice. Not just money, but
no, I get the appreciation. But then it's like if you have a dog, and you're looking after your dog and you're taking him for walks, do you get paid for that? It's bringing it into a whole nother realm that I don't feel comfortable with.
Okay. So I was agreeing with the brunette or whichever one. The other one was talking about the dog. But yeah, and Gabe, I agree with you. If your income is one, there is no need. Dame's... Okay, baby.
Oh, I wasn't about to say nothing,
Okay.
but Damien said,
okay.
I don't think my wife should get a salary because whatever she needs is there when she needs it. My mom says, absolutely, she's for the salary. Aunt Chichi says, the husband is not a housewife's employer. When a couple agrees that one person stays home, the one income, the household income.
Exactly.
Gabe says, amen. My mom says, maintaining a household is definitely a job.
Indeed it is.
Cousin Alethea says, being a housewife is a job.
Indeed it is.
My G says, I don't think so. If he is the sole provider and taking care of the household, the mother will be compensated by what he brings home as a collective.
Amen.
I like that answer. Damien says, since when do we feel like there needs to be a compensation on everything? What
does that do?
Yeah, what does that do for the children watching morals and expectations for compensation for doing their homework?
That's so cool. We talked about that. So
the way God works. So because I didn't want to just throw it out there because I was telling her earlier, I'm like, maybe eventually on some of these topics, people are gonna get tired of me because it go back to like with a child with the homework. It's like you say they're supposed to do the homework so they don't get paid for it, right? If you choose to be a housewife, why are you going to get paid for it? That's what you're supposed to do.
So, yeah, I agree with that notion. It's like, I think, so for one, I agree with a lot of what you guys were saying. I don't agree that a woman should get a salary for being a housewife because at the end of the day, it's our money. So I don't need a salary because I have access to our money. What do I need a salary for? And also, as far as what you were saying, like the lady was saying, oh, but it's a job. Like we're, cleaning, we're cooking, we're doing laundry, we're taking care of the children. And it is a lot of work.
True.
So I agree. It's a job. Like it is a lot of work and you should be appreciated for that work. However, the appreciation doesn't have to come with a salary.
Right.
Because what are you lacking? Like if you're not able to access the money and like if you and your husband don't like set up the bills and the budget together to where you both have spending money, like as a stay-at-home mom, we're getting the same type of allowance. It doesn't matter if he's the one out there working.
And you said it actually. That's what I was thinking about too. It's more so of an allowance. It's not a salary. We both have an allowance on how much we could spend out the account. Like that's what it is. It's
part of your budget.
Yeah. Pretty much.
She said, what is the definition of an occupation? Looking it up. Occupation is a job or profession. The action, state, or period of occupying, that's military. But it's just a job or a profession. Job is a paid position of regular employment.
That's a job, though.
Okay, so then, I won't say that being a housewife is a job. I'll say that it's just a lot of work because at the end of the day, it is a choice that you're making. When you decide to have children, that's a choice that you're making. And you know that comes with a lot of time investment and a lot of stress. They're pulling your hair out, but a lot of love and joy as well. So I think it's a choice that you're making to say, okay, we want to have children. How are we going to raise these children? Then you make another choice. If you guys agree that you're going to stay home and raise the children, take care of dinner and clean the house, that's a decision that you're making. So if your husband goes out and he's working outside of the home, you're working and doing things inside of the home, you're still equally, thanks, Gabe. You're still equally, you're still a team and you're still equally providing to the betterment and the success of the family.
Yeah.
So I don't think it definitely needs a salary.
My mom says, one dictionary defines an occupation as an activity that serves as one's regular source of livelihood. Being a housewife is an activity that gets one food, clothing, and a place to live. And that certainly meets the dictionary definition of having an occupation. It doesn't meet the definition because what you're saying is it meets the livelihood of someone else, not your livelihood. Think about that.
So
when someone chooses to have an occupation, it's usually for their livelihood.
But at the end of the day, you couldn't get the food, the clothing, or have a place to live if the husband wasn't bringing in the income, if you're a housewife.
And
so that's why it's like, it goes back to like, you're a team, you're both benefiting, you just have different roles.
Yeah, it's
like you're being compensated anyway, because his money is your money. So what do you need an extra salary for?
You got to look at it in the sense of the maintenance man that lives in the complex. He works there, but he probably get free rent. You understand what I'm saying? Now he probably get free rent, but they don't pay for his food. He don't drive them around. They don't drive him around. No money comes out of the property that complex's money for anything else for his life. Now when you married, this man's money takes care of everything in your life, everything. So you shouldn't be asking for anything. Same way that someone would say the same thing for their child.
Yes. And as Gabe said, please, if you guys are just joining us, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Thank you for joining us on the Power Trip Podcast, our Thursday evening chat. We are your hosts, Charmaine
and Taekwon.
And right now we are discussing, should a housewife
get a salary?
And so I like what Chichi said earlier, and the lady also in the video stated, is you're not an employee of your husband. Because now, if you think about it in that way, where you feel like you deserve a salary, let's say you didn't do your job too well. Now is your husband to come in and inspect your work and say, oh, well, you're getting a deduction because you didn't do your job well. Or when you're sick and not feeling well, do you feel like your husband should be like, oh, well, you already had enough sick days this month, like this year,
I need you to get out this bed and go cook my food.
Right. So it's like, you don't want it to be in that position to where it's like you're getting a salary from your husband. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you're not allowed to get no advance.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you can't get an advance, or you get commissions when you do well. But I feel like your husband can show appreciation in different ways. Because being a housewife is a lot of work. And so I'm not taking that lightly at all. I know that comes with a lot of work. But he can show appreciation in other ways, and all your needs financially should already be met.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I said, I kind of look at the allowance. Like if everything is one, but if we in a good spot, how I look at it, like you don't spend that much. I'm gonna say spend. Like, go do
or
something.
Or you'll take me out. Or nice for me.
I'll find a way to spend something for her. But other than that, and the only reason why I say it the other way around, what I tell you to spend is if they are getting paid, that's their money, and they have control of what they do with it. So that's what I'm saying. I tell you to spend some money, do something for yourself, do what you want to do.
Yeah, but if my happiness doesn't come from spending,
then it's nothing.
Yeah, and it's not like a competition. Oh, you spent $50 this month, like I need to make sure I spend.
No, it's not like that. We have a set. You just have your set amount that gets spent, and that's it. But I'm just saying, if we had a nice cushion and maybe a lot of money came in a month, and I'm like, Buns, get something, do something. I know you might not do it. I'm just saying.
But it was your way of saying like you deserve to go do something. But
right.
That's why you could just do it for me. If I don't want to, you could get me a massage, take me out to eat, take me on a vacay.
See, and that's what I'm saying. So she prefers stuff like that. So it's my money anyway.
Our money.
It's all from the same source at the end of the day.
Yes. So Mama J says, in an ideal world, I wish it could be a paid position and not from the husband. I know it may never be a reality, but for some, their livelihood may be taking care of the house.
You're right. You never know if it's going to be a reality or not. We was watching some video where
it was the same interview. It was earlier in the interview.
Well, okay, that last interview that we played, they were actually talking about what is Britain?
Yes.
Yeah, Britain paying
they're
housewives.
Not. No, that was what the lady with the darker hair was saying. She said they should get paid more than surgeons.
Yeah.
But I once again I agreed with the other lady when she's like, it becomes like it just makes your relationship based around like kind of, or doing the things that you should do for your family. Like it makes it like money based, because as a stay-at-home mom, you're choosing to stay at home, right? You're choosing to have children. Like regardless, house has to get cleaned, whether someone's paying you or not, whether you're married or not. Your laundry needs to be washed, whether you're married or not. So like these are things that have to get done. These are just your responsibilities. And that kind of goes back to like what you were saying, like, and Dane was saying, with children, you guys, we expect them to do their homework. So if you're saying, oh, they shouldn't be rewarded for doing what they have to do anyway, is the same way, like for a housewife. Even though I do feel like, even for children, I feel like you can reward them. I don't think it has to be done, but I think, showing them they're doing a good job, you can reward them. Same thing with your husband working, being out tired or whatever he's doing. I feel like you show appreciation to that.
Yeah,
and vice versa.
And it's not saying that they have to be compensated for their grades or anything like that. It's just saying if you have the stance that you need to get paid for what you have to do, then they kind of fit in the same ballpark realm of things.
Yep. And I like what Mommy said, mothers don't get sick days. So it's different than a job. Right. You're always on the clock.
Damien said, you being a housewife doesn't make you a single entity. Everyone plays a different role on the team. How would a wife feel about compensating a stay-at-home dad? That's true. That's true.
Ladies, I'll wait.
Right?
Let's see what Mommy had to say back.
She says, if the man stays home, he gets the same treatment as long as he holds the home down and he keeps the pot hot, Damien. Okay.
Is
that Dame Dash in the
house? Oh, goodness. Another future mogul.
Right.
That's a good point. I do think, I don't know if a woman, and I can't speak for all women, but I do think like there are some women who will say that's fine. Like you're doing a lot, so I'm going to make sure that this is our money. We take care of it. But then there's other women who just feel like I'm not taking care of no man.
Right.
So I think that depends on the person. And then what does Mama J say? Oops.
She says, you have women who had careers and their husbands decided after children, I want you to stay home. And that's true. But I guess it all comes down to, I guess, what are you working for? And are you working to have the luxuries in life and stuff like that? Because, I mean, if he's taking care of you and he's, you still living a good life, you getting some nice things and everything like that, you want to go out here and work just so you can have the most? I mean, I don't know. I don't think that you should neglect your family so you could go have the most when you have someone providing a good enough amount for you.
I feel like if it's it can be a sacrifice, and especially for women. It depends on what your goals are and how selfless I feel like you want to be, because not every woman is in the space where she can choose to stay at home.
True.
Because there's some women in their household, some families, they just don't make enough for one person to even be able to stay at home. Now, if you're afforded that lifestyle and you're able to stay at home, I feel like it's a selfless decision to stay at home and really pour into your children as much as possible versus saying, well, I want to live this career and I want to be out there. I think that's a little bit more selfish, and not selfish in a fully negative sense, because sometimes, you put yourself first. But I think that's what you're doing when you choose to go out into the work field versus be home and, really pour your time into the children in your house and, your family. So I think it just kind of depends on what your priorities are and if you're afforded that lifestyle. Not everybody is.
True. Damien says, there's this double standard, though. Women today ain't staying with no stay-at-home dad. Next show's topic.
Okay, we can talk about
stay-at-home dad.
Stay-at-home dad.
And Archichi says, it's not about providing the most. Many women have ambition and find purpose outside of the home. And that's true, but because I asked you to stay home and you got all this ambition and purpose outside of the home, I got to pay you now?
Well, it still goes back to it's our money anyway, so you don't have to pay me.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Piece of the change. But the thing to me is, and that's the thing where I was just talking about, like where it comes to a little bit of selfishness, because it's like you have this other ambition, but you're also, it's like you want it all. Like we want it all. We want to have children. We want the career. We want the success. Like we want to be able to have it all.
Right.
And when you have it all like that, the balance is just going to be off in certain areas because you can't do it all. You're only one person. And well, I'm not going to say you can't do it all. You can't do it all optimally. Like you can't put 100% of your time in your career and then you'll neglect your children. Or you can't put 100% in your children because then things will fall through the cracks with your career. Yeah. So it's like you have to really understand the choice that you're making if that's the lifestyle you want to live. Because then you have people who are, like, let's say there's two successful people in a relationship and they both want to work and they have children. Then that's when nannies get involved and, you know, children are in like a lot of different activities. Like they're outside of the house most of the time because both couples are super busy with their job. So I guess it just kind of depends on, you know, it just kind of depends on what you want. And I honestly think it's kind of like selfless and selfish. Balance.
Yeah.
Imbalance, I guess.
It is. It is. Because I get it.
I didn't even read the whole thing he said.
Said, preach, bro. I ain't paying my wife. I'm providing for my queen. Ladies, did I mention I'm single?
Holla at him.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't, yeah. I get that people have their ambition and everything like that. And you know, and all, but once you choose to have, it's the choice that you had. You know, you chose to have the child, and no, not fortunately, things play out the way it plays out, and the man doesn't have to.
Go ahead. Finish your stuff.
Oh, but the man doesn't have to necessarily carry that child. He doesn't get put on hiatus like you do. You get put on hiatus.
Physical.
Yeah, because of physical
changes.
and the sole nurturer for that child is the woman. Like you're that first source. Like you know.
So also something you said was if we have children, when we have children, if you ask me to be a stay-at-home mom, I feel like this is a conversation that we should have had prior to getting married and prior to having children. I don't think I think, and that's something huge. Like you need to talk about everything under the sun before you get married. As much as you can think of, you need to have that discussion and make sure you're on the same page.
Yeah.
Because if I'm working, you're working, we get married, and all of a sudden you say, well, you know, I just want you to stay home. And we never had that discussion. And I'm like, whoa, slow your roll, kid. Because it's like, in my mind, I'm going to have the baby, go back to work. We never had, this is what we were doing prior to children.
Yeah.
This is what we were doing after we got married. And then now that I have a child, you can't spring this on me and expect me, well, you could, and we can have the conversation, but I think it should have happened prior to, so that you knew what type of mindset I had.
That's true, but let's think about us. This wasn't my initial
but we
thought.
Grew together, and it wouldn't just be like
we had more of this conversation
after we got married.
Right.
But we grew together. It wasn't that I disagreed with it. Now, if you started growing in that direction and you're like, okay, Manny, I want you to stay home, and I'm like, that's cute.
Yeah, no, but
I've been doing this. I went to school for this all these years, and I still want to do it. It would cause friction in our relationship.
Yeah, I'm just saying, as far as you saying that you should have that conversation early. You know what my understanding was earlier.
Well, even before. So we kind of had the conversation, but it wasn't even Oh yeah. I guess what you're saying. But your goal was always to provide.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had a clear understanding
That you were always going to be the provider.
Yeah, I said I want to be the provider. That is the goal.
But you didn't want me to just.
But you need to have a job.
Yeah.
That's all. I used to always say that.
And
but you need to have a job.
Change.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But it changed after
true.
it changed after we got married, and also and not even it may have started changing before. You never know. I think it's a maturity thing because then I factor in, and I know you hate it, but then no, we talking about it because I factor in once we have a child. You get what I'm saying? How do I kind of? Oh no, that's not a nice name. But no, you get what I'm saying? I kind of factor in like, you know what, man? As I'm maturing, like I really don't want nobody watching my kids like that. And I would prefer you to do it. In my mind is like I chose you as the nurturer of my children for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not to let anybody else
just have
raise my children.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
And I agree. I do think so. To your point, I agree. Like, even if you have I think you should have the conversation because some people know beforehand, but for us, it did change over time.
Right.
So I get that. And then I agree with what you're saying now too. It's like you chose this wonderful slice of heaven because you knew the type of woman I am. You did see this as being a good woman to raise your children. So why then will we have children and they're out there being raised by someone else, or we have a nanny in the house, or whatever? So I understand what you're saying there as well. Let me see. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
You're good.
Ani Vaughn said, I sacrificed years to cut childcare costs. And waited for them to get a certain age before starting my career. And I think that's a respectable thing to do too, because you're putting your children first, pretty much. And then, as they get older and they're not in the house as often, you go and you do your thing.
Right.
Like that. Mommy says you could pick up little Samage and sis and I will take care of the little angel.
Why you put the G in it?
Oh yeah, because my name, I don't know. Samane. I don't know. So you just said yes, childcare is no joke.
Right.
It's expensive, and we don't even have children yet, but I know it's pricey.
Heard enough.
Aunt Chi said, I love the name. Good one. Aunt Chi, do not encourage her.
We have names, and I can't wait till we can reveal them.
Okay, Dame is loving with you. Okay, Black men unite.
Yep. But nah, that's really how I really think of that. Like I said, people mature over time. So that's why we have, I don't know where they at right now, but that's why we have these cards, man. And these cards kind of.
They're not in here.
They're not?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought they were. But we used to go over them. We got to start pulling them out again. But it's these deck of cards if you weren't on, when we used to do it. But these cards kind of keep that open line of communication.
They're basically questions you're supposed to ask prior to marriage or prior to moving in together. And it's also really nice to ask once you're married.
Yeah, it's not even, I mean, you could ask them in a relationship any point. It's good to update.
Yeah, it's always good to check back in because, like you said, we've grown over time. We've grown after we even got married. Our mindset has grown. And I think it also plays into like our goals and what we want for our family, how we see our family unit. So, yeah, that I don't think housewives should get a salary because it's our money anyway. What do you need? I just don't understand what you would need a separate salary for when it's like it goes into one pot. We were functioning as one unit. So
yeah, you should be able to say, "Hey, we bringing this much money in. How much money can we spend? What's leisure money after you broke down everything and you made the budget? how much money can I spend? How much money can you spend? I mean, obviously it should be
it's
even,
the same.
you know.
And it does.
But,
that's the thing too. It doesn't matter who's actually going out to make the money. The allowance that you both get is the same.
Yeah, because it's to take care of both of us. So it's
we're both adding value to this family, just in different ways.
It's hers just as much as it is mine. And that's the bottom line to it, I guess. It's not really no in and out of that, you know. Because like we said, if I had to pay you, that's my money paying you. You're not gonna have any tie to anything else. It's just
kind
the
of
money
makes that separation.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm paying, and like once again, your husband is not your employer. He's not your boss. Your house is not like, you know, like we're a family.
And then it's like if he just in control of the money like that, technically, you're not doing all the housewife duties. Because you ain't paying the bills.
That's not a housewife duty.
You're taking care of the house.
That's not paying the bills. Is not a housewife duty.
I mean, I look at it like part of it. It's just, and that's just my personal one.
That's just because of you, yeah. Personal.
I think it falls in the line, like
no.
The house duties and making sure the ease of everything. Like
you still have house duties as a man. So.
No, I'm not saying I don't have house duties. I'm saying for you. You take care. No, you do a good job taking care of the budget and everything like that. So, you know, that's your job.
Yeah.
Get the bills out the way.
Get me my money. Honey.
Nah,
but it's like everyone has their roles, but it's all for the betterment of our family.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's not his money, it's not my money, it's our money. We're working towards this thing together because our goal is to continue to build wealth.
Yeah, and not to go ahead.
Ladies, if you're stay-at-home wives and you don't have access to the moolah, that is dangerous.
That is dangerous.
That is dangerous because mommy.
Yeah. Damien said, and money shouldn't be the drive behind doing something.
True.
Which is true. My G said is Saquon's still growing and Saquon's still growing and changing right before our eyes on these YouTube streets.
Yes, or to your mobile.
Yeah.
We both five, but yeah. What was I saying?
I don't know. Oh, but all of this also shouldn't take away from there are situational things where you know it can't work that way because of someone's skill or the spender that just can't spend. We talked about this before. Not can't spend. You could spend too much spending and you don't know when to stop.
You're the spender.
Yeah. So it's situations where that comes into play because if you are the wife which I've come across where there was a wife that she just ain't know how to stop spending. She just kept doing it and going and going and going. You know, like you taking out stuff in my name and we doing everything. She just couldn't stop, you know?
That's very selfish because it's pretty much like stealing from your family when you overspend. When you just keep spending, especially if you're a stay-at-home wife and you just keep spending, like you're putting more pressure on your husband to have to make more money.
More money, yeah.
And you're taking from the pot of your family, which should be building. So, yeah. Oh, but what I was going to say is I do think, though, in relationships where the man is the breadwinner and the woman is a stay-at-home wife, if he just has control over the money and doesn't want to let you have access to it, that's a whole kind of different story. That one's kind of tough.
Yeah.
Because I feel like then you're kind of stifled. Like you really ain't got no say so.
Yeah, and you should be asking.
He is kind of your boss.
Yeah, and you should be asking for the whole thing, not no salary. So
yeah,
that should be the fight. Like, I need access to the whole bag, not a pouch,
not a salary. Yeah,
don't give me no little pouch.
Yeah, no little check here and there. I don't want to come to you.
No weekly stipend.
Yeah, no.
Nah.
No.
I just need to tell me how much I can spend, but I need to be up in that thing.
Yeah. Name on the account and all.
Yeah.
But it's just honestly for like in our mindset, it's really like
precautions and things that come with that, actually.
Yeah, but that's just how like a family should operate. Like we are one unit. We are the business. If we're gonna look at it in a business sense, this is our business. It's not his business. It's not my business. It's our business. We run this thing together.
And when you start getting into the money thing and all of that, it's benefits to tying some things together, like credit cards and everything.
Yes.
If you got if you got a husband or a wife that has had a credit card for a really long time and now you're trying to fix up your credit.
Oh, my credit was good.
Yeah, it was already good. Or if you need a boost in your credit, right? Then you could go to your partner and they can add you on as the authorized user to boost that. But sometimes in certain cases, and not in all cases, but they could get a card now and they're able to spend based on that, on that account. And now you guys are together. And unfortunately, it all affects your credit, but all the positive go to them.
Well, it doesn't affect your credit negatively.
No, if you mess up,
I mess up.
Yeah, if you mess up my card and wild out, then I gotta pay for it.
Yeah, but he knows. He's
that's
a
not
responsible
happening.
lady on his hand.
Right.
All right. Mommy says, you two are beautiful souls. Oh, you two beautiful souls are so mature. I know it's the good home training. Can we bottle y'all up and spread your essence to the world?
Yes, you can bottle us up. Please like and share for us to be spread across this world. We really would like to get, our mindset and our insight across to
Thank
people.
you guys for 100 subscribers.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that.
Last
week, we hit 100 subscribers on the last video.
Yes.
We really appreciate it.
We so appreciate it. When we get to 150, we're going to do a special giveaway.
Yeah.
So please make sure to share this video. Huh, honey?
No, 150, we'll give away something.
Yeah. So please make sure to share our YouTube page with others you think would be interested. Make sure you guys are liking the video, commenting. We appreciate it. You guys are so awesome. We love you. And just keep staying tuned in. And if you guys have any topics, like we say all the time, let us know, because Dame, we got you. Stay at home dads. New topic.
Yep.
But yeah, anything you guys want us to discuss, controversial, we love the controversial. We want to expand our minds, our perspectives. We want to build better families. We want to communicate. So let us know in the comments below. You can email us at thepowertrippodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, or are we on Twitter? No, Facebook. Are we on Twitter?
We are on Twitter. The Power Trip Podcast. I forget how to spell it because we don't be on Twitter like that. But yeah, email us or anything. Honestly, 50 body counts. Yeah, but even if it's not necessarily a topic, email us anonymously if you have something going on that you want to be discussed.
Yeah, or if you want to be on the podcast and discuss anything, let us know. We'd love to have you. Oh, Gabe, it was like a few weeks ago. There's like sometimes a lag in the comments and when we get off, but you said you were gonna inbox us something. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. So if you had something you want to let us know about, I'm sorry to call you out, but let us know.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Ciasia.
Thank you, Ciasia. You have a good night too.
All right, you guys. We love you all so much. Thank you for tuning in to another Thursday.
Love y'all.
Chat.
Thank you again.
Yes.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Deuces, people.